I'd
more
cut
likely.
off my than in being that
I know,
guy.
me too. Also, metallurgy, naval architecture.
Right.
Very few women, but you make money. Women are over here in early childhood education, fields they find rewarding.
Yes.
And social work and
Society,
gender
right.
studies.
Society has priorities.
And the thing is, what she said, I don't find this video controversial.
I know you have said you think that male privilege is a conspiracy theory.
No. I think that men have privileges, but so do women.
Right.
And I think if you look at contemporary America, what you see is a complicated mix of advantages and burdens for each sex. For example, women are far more privileged in the classroom. Young women and girls are far more privileged than boys. Boys are barely tolerated these days in many.
Bro, I don't know who Christina Hoff Sommers is, but I'm a college student, and I have to say that statement is 100% true. It was like when I was growing up in school and stuff, and I'm in college now, and I already have one degree. I'm getting another degree, a master's degree. When I was in young school, I got in trouble so much. And looking back, I was like, wow, I was just being myself. They say boys are more disruptive and all that, but it's like when you're that young, if you're not a disrespectful kid, it's like you just have more energy. You just like to play more. And I got in trouble so much. The only times I didn't get in trouble is when I just sat there and just wasn't myself. I didn't say anything. So I would say that statement is true. I would also say, yes, I agree. Like, guys have privileges and women have privileges. That's how life works. It's like anything. But let's see if this is a good video. Stay to the end.
Classrooms. A lot of schools of education are captive to these paranoid theories about toxic masculinity, and they think that the slightest show of male bravado, so a little boy, can be thrown out of, suspended because he bit like a Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun, and he was thrown out of school. I know. Like
a talented kid. I knew people could do the thing with the cherry stem, but also men die.
Men die.
Younger, they die in workplace accidents. 92% of people who die in workplace accidents, men. Murder victims, 78%. Suicide, 78%. 85% go into combat. For the same crime, 63% longer sentences if you're a man. So, yeah, I get your point that there's bad things to being a man, too.
Yeah, it's for both sexes.
But what about the pay gap? Now, this is probably where you're most controversial.
I'm not controversial. It's not me. Any responsible economist who looks at the gap, what you see is that on average, women do, if you look at all the men and all the women in the country working full time, it turns out there's about a 20 to 23% gap. Now, is that because of discrimination? Well, people have tried to find the discrimination, but at first you have to do the proper controls and ask, what did they study in school? What job are they in? How many hours a week do they work? How long do they commute? How dangerous is the job? And when you factor in these various things, the wage gap begins to narrow to the point of vanishing.
But some of it isn't it because women, they say, don't negotiate as well as men for their own behalf?
Well,
and here's my problem with this. I don't understand the obsession with being a victim. Like, why do people want to be discriminated against? Why do people want to say, like, society hates me? Why? I don't understand this whole debate. Trying to say, oh, yeah, there's a... I feel like it's just so much dishonesty in these discussions, even in the pay gap. If what she's saying is true, why are people trying to perpetuate lies to prove that women are victims in the pay when it comes to pay at a job? Why are you trying to perpetuate systemic lies? I'm not going to sit here and fake like some women don't get discriminated against. Of course some women get discriminated against. Some of everyone gets discriminated against. That's a fact. I don't care where you're from. That's a fact. But trying to say there's a systemic pay gap when you just ignore, like, oh yeah, what degree are you studying? How long? Did you negotiate well? So on and so forth. How many hours are you working? It's just stupid to me. It's very stupid. It's a very stupid discussion. I don't even know how we got to this point where we're discussing this, but let's continue.
Some Harvard economists like Claudia Golden have looked into that and think that doesn't explain the gap. Most of the gap is explained by, it's at the very high end where men are willing to work just punishing hours, on weekends and in law firms and in finance, and that has an enormous
Well, women
payoff.
do that too, of course.
They don't do it as much.
Maybe they don't do it as much.
They don't do it as much. And now you could say it's unfair because women are maybe taking care of children, or women don't have the liberty to do that. Now that's true, and that's an interesting discussion, but notice that's not because employers are cheating them. It's because men and women do behave slightly differently in private life. So
and
it's something
even
in
if
the
it
home.
even if it is, and I think it is somewhat the case that women are not as adept at negotiating for themselves, it is incumbent upon them to
Learn how to do it.
Thank you.
But also college majors. So if you want to make a lot of money, you should major. We know this. The highest, most remunerative college major is like petroleum engineering. You will make more money if you are. Now, the majority of the majors in petroleum engineering are males. Very few females. And women are much more likely.
Cut off my than in being that
I know,
job.
me too. Also, metallurgy, naval architecture.
Right.
Very few women, but you make money. Women are over here in early childhood education, fields they find rewarding,
Yes.
and social work and
Society,
gender
right.
studies.
Society has priorities.
Yeah.
But that's not a.
But then you can try to change those
Right.
priorities. But don't say
Right.
we're being cheated out of our salary.
And the thing is, what she said, I don't find this video controversial. I don't understand why the video I just reacted to has 1 million views. I really don't get it. Because what she's saying is just common sense. She didn't say anything controversial. She didn't say anything disrespectful about women or men, about who's smarter or who's more superior. She didn't say none of that. She just said some people go into higher paying jobs. She even brought up examples. She brought up petroleum engineering, which I'm an electrical engineer. I'm an electro-optic engineer. So I study photons and electrons. I would never go into petroleum engineering, even me. But she's right, man. Like, I don't really have any thoughts about this. It's not really a thinking video. It's more of a common sense video. This is just common sense. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's LFR Jojo, and I'll see you in the next one.